In the winter of 45 BC, the city of Rome was buzzing with rumors, and for good reason. Rome, then the largest city in the world, was home to over 1 million people, and its streets pulsed with tension and uncertainty. Julius Caesar had just been declared dictator for life, a title no Roman had ever held before. His rise marked a seismic shift in the Republic's centuries-old traditions. This wasn't just a new ruler taking control, it was the end of the Roman Republic, as everyone knew it. The Senate, once the heart of Roman power, now found itself overshadowed by a single man, and no one, not even Caesar's fiercest rivals, could have predicted what he'd do next. Behind closed doors, senators whispered of plots and feared the loss of their ancient privileges. Imagine this, you're a regular Roman citizen drowning in debt, barely scraping by. At the time, it's estimated that nearly half of Rome's population was burdened by crushing loans. Rich patricians lend you money, but the interest piles up so high you can't ever pay it off. Some citizens were even forced into slavery or exile when they couldn't repay. This was the reality for millions. Debt riots and protests had erupted before, shaking the city's foundations. Then, overnight, Caesar makes a proclamation that shakes Rome to its core. Every debt in the city is wiped clean. Gone. The reaction? Absolute chaos. Some historians say the news spread so quickly that celebrations erupted before dawn. Plebeians, Rome's working class, flooded the streets in celebration, cheering, hugging, laughing. For many, it was the first time in years they could see a future free from fear. For them, it was like winning the ancient lottery. Some even called Caesar the father of the people. But for Rome's wealthy elite, the creditors who'd lent fortunes, it was a nightmare. Many had invested their entire fortunes in these debts, expecting a lifetime of returns. They watched as their wealth evaporated, their power shattered, and their influence over the common people vanished in a single stroke. Some patricians even tried to flee the city, fearing mob violence. But Caesar didn't do this out of pure generosity. He was a master strategist, always thinking several moves ahead. He knew that by erasing debts, he could undermine his enemies and secure his own legacy. He knew Rome's growing wealth gap was a powder keg, one spark away from another civil war. The Republic had already been rocked by decades of class conflict and political violence. Crushed by debt, desperate citizens were perfect targets for ambitious rivals who wanted to seize power. In fact, previous uprisings had nearly toppled the government. By cancelling debts, Caesar turned the masses into loyal supporters, while slashing the legs out from under his political enemies. His popularity soared, but so did the resentment among the elite. Think about it. Historians estimate this move transferred wealth worth billions in today's money, directly from the rich to the poor. It was one of the largest forced redistributions of wealth in ancient history. It was a rebalancing of society no one had seen before. Some called it a revolution without bloodshed, at least for the moment. But here's where it gets really spine-chilling. The city's underbelly buzzed with rumors of plots and revenge. Caesar's generosity came with hidden chains. Some suspected he was buying loyalty, not just offering relief. Sure, the people were debt-free, but now they depended entirely on him. The Republic's old checks and balances were crumbling. Their fresh start was tied to Caesar's survival. If he fell, those debts and the old order could return with a vengeance. Some families hid their debt records just in case. This act didn't just secure Caesar's dictatorship, it set the stage for the deadliest betrayal in Roman history. The Senate, humiliated and desperate, began to conspire. Only a year later, on the Ides of March, the same senators whose fortunes he'd destroyed took their revenge. The echoes of his debt cancellation still haunted the chamber. Surrounded by daggers, Caesar paid the ultimate price for his shocking gamble. His death plunged Rome into chaos and civil war. So next time you hear about debt forgiveness, remember, in ancient Rome it wasn't just about money. It was a weapon, a promise and a curse. It was about power, loyalty and the fate of an entire civilization. Caesar's bold move changed Rome forever, and its ripples are still felt in history's greatest empires. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe.